Hello Aquarius, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be taking a look at the month of November. As always, you can use this monthly forecast for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. We're going to take a look at the Celtic Cross here in just one moment, but I always begin my readings with channeled messages. Today's channeled message came from dreams, and the dream that I saw was very specific. I was taking a daffodil bulb, and I was actually splitting up some old ones that had kind of gotten crowded, and I was starting to create this new flower bed from that. It's a form of propagation for those of you that garden. The important symbol, though, is the bulb. A daffodil represents an ace of pentacles, and whenever you take like a nut from a tree, a seed from a flower, or a bulb from a perennial, and you put it in the ground, there's going to be a timeline associated with it. And so I was shown autumn. I was pushing back the leaves, digging up the ground, and planting the bulb. So spring then would be when this would come to fruition. So we can look at that as roughly 5 to 6 months from now. Something that you're starting now is going to blossom right around March, April, or May. So the first to second quarter of next year, things are looking really great. And this is in finances, personal development, or anything that you're trying to have take off in your life. The main takeaway from this is also patience and diligence and showing up and consistently working on it. So I put temperance here because this is a reminder that good things come to those who wait and who consistently do all of what I just talked about. So your patience and your consistency will help that idea, that opportunity, that ace come to fruition. Also, if you take a look at these cards, there's like lilies and irises on them. So I picked cards that even had spring and summer bulbs. This is a cyclical shift that's underway. Work and growth and opportunity is happening beneath the surface. What you can focus on, just like a bulb or a seed, is grounding yourself in purpose, grounding yourself in activities that really help you feel like you're doing something that matters, and knowing that things will pay off. This will pay off in the long run. So even if you're in the southern hemisphere, by the way, the timeline is the main reason that Spirit chose that symbol. So you can still work with the timeline that I provided, and I just wanted to clarify that. Okay? Now let's look at the second piece of the message, and this was also pretty specific. I saw what looked like strings coming out of a sweater, and it was probably because it had been snagged or caught on something, and I saw it being clipped and sort of sewn up. And this is representing cord cutting, but also just when you're releasing attachments, I also can think of the Fool here, where they're just not carrying with them too much energy, too much stuff, too many preconceived notions. It's a clean slate. And I think that once you've put something into the ground, into motion, planted that seed figuratively, because some of you might be sending an application for college or for a job, or you might be reaching out to someone, it could take some time. They could be busy. But lo and behold, there'll be some things that come through next year. I had many bulbs in the ground. So one thing that I'd like to add to all of this is you don't necessarily have to put all of your eggs in one basket. Consider putting a few seeds out there of opportunity. And then come next year, a lot of things could be coming through, and you'll have a really great thing, which is choice. And we're always a fan of having more than one thing that you can choose from. All right, let's go ahead now, give the cards a shuffle, and take a look at what messages are presenting themselves here in this next period of time. So good to see everybody. Thank you again for joining me. And let's take a look, Aquarius, and see what's coming through. Again, you can use this for Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus. I've got another one that jumped out. We're going to read it as upright because it jumped out. All right, let's begin with your Catalyst card. And you received the Earth Bird. And let's look at it in the upright position, even though it came through reverse. It said Phoenix rising from the ashes. I love that. I also see a little bit of what looks like peacock feathers, right? But we'll read it as both a phoenix as well. So for many of you, if we had to choose a phoenix-related card in tarot, it would be Judgment, because in that card there are souls rising up, and this represents the understanding that each end is also a beginning. So for those of you that are going through something that feels like a rejection or a roadblock, or maybe it is something coming to a close, it's closing, but 1, 2, 3, many more doors might be opening, and it's really about opening your heart and mind to see all of that. And thinking to yourself, I am, a timeless, ageless, resplendent soul that has been through this in past lives. I can deal with it in this life. And it's an opportunity to rebuild and reimagine. I think that's the most important thing is we do not have to repeat history. And one of the things that I always love about, whenever something comes to a close is it's an invitation to basically think about what else is possible. So focus on the possibilities, folks. We have we have earth energy here with this. It's reversed. So there may be a need to be a little bit more grounded. So if there's anyone or anything in your life that makes you feel like you aren't receiving the support you need, this is a time to really reevaluate how much time and energy you want to keep spending in it. And instead, like I was talking about with the Ace of Pentacles, invest in things where you know there's going to be a return. Let's now focus on the Celtic Cross here. And we're going to just take a quick scan of all the cards, and then we'll look at the reading, or get into the reading, I should say. I like that we don't have any sort of difficult cards per se. We don't have the Devil, the Ten of Swords, or the Tower. I don't mind them as a reader, but it does show gently that this is in an easier space. Releasing the burden is something that definitely is coming through. So it's okay to let go. And that might even be the title here. It's okay to let go of something here. You have support. We see growth. We see some healing. I think you can manage this, folks. Let's begin with your centermost card. The Queen of Wands is arguably one of the best court cards that you can get because it basically represents innovation, leadership, the ability to hold your ground, and its passion personified. But when reversed, it can carry with it some challenges. Namely, sometimes it's a little too bossy, sometimes it's a little too close-minded. Let's talk about how we can bring this in the upright position. The first thing I like to focus on is the 6 arms and hands that she has. I like to view this in a slightly unconventional sense. It's almost a multi-dimensional capture for me. And it's like what you would see in the Matrix where Neo was moving really fast and they did like stop motion. So one thing that she can simply do is slow down and take a lay of the land. So rather than, working and pushing on something, it's sort of like what Neo learned in the movie was to be able to see past what was in front of him. So leaning into her true skill set, which is innovation. When you feel blocked, look beyond the block. When you think this is it, it's just the beginning. This is also symbolic of being pulled in too many directions. Each one of these could be a commitment, a thought, someone that she's trying to influence, control, etc. So this is about not trying to be overly bossy, overly controlling, instead managing your own life, setting some expectations for others, and stepping back. Good bosses, good leaders, they surround themselves with other leaders and they empower people to do their best. They don't try to control them and they don't try to kind of like puppeteer them. It's basically saying, here's what I need. Can I count on you? Good. I got something else to do. And they focus on that. So if you can multitask, but again, more in a leadership role where you can delegate and then focus on this, let that person go, let this thing go, get the big picture. I think that's the main thing here. So don't overcommit and don't kind of like cut off too many things when it comes to new ideas or opportunities. Here's what's cool. We have the 2 of Cups and the 6 of Cups right near this. And so I feel like there are people coming in with new ideas. And that's why we want to open up her heart and mind a little bit so she can receive. The hardest thing this month could be asking for help or receiving help or taking a compliment. If someone has something nice to say and you've worked really hard, a heartfelt thank you is enough, you know? We have the Two of Cups crossing this. Can you find love this month for those of you that are single and looking? Yes. Can you improve existing relationships? Yes. If you want to talk about starting a family, is this the right time? Yes. These are all good cards. The focus here has to be a little bit on finding some balance with your social life. It doesn't have to just be romance. This could be friends in your life, existing family members. It could also simply be you allowing yourself to be more open to make some new connections. It's a great month to network. And there's so much to love about the Two of Cups. She's expecting this person to come through in a certain way, shape, form, or time, and they may come in whenever they want to. And that's one message from Spirit is expect the unexpected sometimes and be open to that. I love all the lilies here. We see a lot of, bulbs and lilies coming through in this reading. This is representative of the work that you and or your partner or friends have done to push through all of the difficult times, because in order for a lotus or a lily to blossom, they have to go through all of the levels of the silt and the kind of murky waters to get to the top. So this is a time to enjoy. This is a time to embrace. And I hope you're able to do that. You've worked hard to get here. Don't lose track of what it is you're trying to do. Don't second guess your vision or your creativity. Two of Wands in your deep past is a karmic lesson around your own ability to manifest. You've got it together this month. I saw that already. It just may not happen right here, right now. You're planting a seed. It could take a couple of months to see the progress, up to 5 or 6. So be patient with it. The other thing here is don't forget to have a plan. It's interesting that when we looked at health, it was reversed, but it's the map. So for some of you, it may be spinning the map around, looking at new things, creating a new plan, but we literally have a globe here. So are you happy with where you're at? That's really how we could read this card in combination with what I just showed you there. Do you like where you ended up? Do you like where you're headed? If not, you can course correct at any point. It's like the GPS in the car. If you miss a turn, it's like, okay, let me redirect you, try this. So you have a GPS in your head and in your heart that's doing the same thing. You just have to listen and you have to take the wheel and turn, okay? Figuratively speaking. Now we have some really exciting things here in the recent past. We have the Six of Cups on top, but underneath it is this representation of your ability to bounce back. So let's look at the sort of renewal energy first. We see that it may have been a tough couple of weeks, couple of months, or even couple of years, but you've come from this period of being pushed, being challenged, and now you're really strong. I love that I saw a bulb which has to push through the leaves, the ground, sometimes the snow to blossom. You're doing exactly that. And guess what? People are taking note, and it's a good thing. This is one of the highest quality and highest frequency relationship cards that I could find if I was looking in a tarot deck. When you're looking at partnerships, this comes through like a best friend. It's a playful card too, and we want to find that in relationships. Someone that you can laugh with, someone that you can have fun with, someone that feels like a best friend, someone that is family. It's all of that. If you already have it, this is reminding you to lean into it. And that person may have been with you through thick and thin. So say thank you. Spend some more time with your friends. The older that I get, my friends are my family. My family's not on the planet anymore. I still have some cousins and a couple aunts or uncles here or there, but my immediate family, my parents are gone and I don't have siblings. So now I look at my friends kind of like as my siblings, right? And in day-to-day life, if they need me or if I can be with them and have some fun and make some time, I say yes to that because it's important. These are the bonds that matter most. So for those of you that are, in a new stage of life, whether it's fresh off of a divorce or you've lost some people like I have, create the network. This is a month where you can actually rebound. We literally see rebounding energy here. And it's the good kind of rebounding where it could be a new relationship, but I'm looking at this also as expanding your network of friends and your chosen family is what I like to refer to that as. And this is really nicely aligned with the phoenix here, the earth bird. Okay, let's now take a look at where your head is at this month, and couldn't be in a better space. This is personal development, nurturing energy. Some of you may be pregnant because I have children here basically. So This is I will say this, if you're doing anything like IVF, this could mean two. There's a possibility for twins. So think about that. But for the rest of us, the Queen of Pentacles is simply a card of development, prosperity, fertility, and abundance. But fertility can also mean that you have a green thumb. I saw you planting bulbs. If you decide to go back to school, if you decide to send out an important communication, if you decide to work on something personal development, it's going to pay off. And that's why we have the bunny there. We have a bunny and a snake, and that's basically abundance, and that's power. This is going to set you up for success in the new year, okay? And just, it's rich with growth. So I am so excited and optimistic and also encouraging for you. Like I'd like to encourage you to do what you want to do, especially if it's been put on the back burner. Some of you may have taken a sabbatical, a break, or just didn't do something for a while because you had to care for a parent, you had to raise your family, because you might have been struggling through your own sort of personal challenges, whether it was health, financial, or emotional. Now we see that you're bouncing back a little bit, and even if you're still on the heels of that recovery, maybe 3 to 6 months out, we still got like this judgment-like energy here with the Phoenix rising saying, get excited for a new chapter. Things are about to get better. We have the 10 of Wands here. This is also a renewal symbol. I was walking with a friend today and I saw a scarab beetle on the ground, just like this. So scarab beetles are basically representation of death, rebirth, renewal, and we see at the center of this, you. And what is the beetle doing? It's pushing out a little bit from where it's at and it's getting ready to take flight. 10 of Wands, we're going to look at the traditional card while I'm chatting here. I'll pull it up. The 10 of Wands represents the completion of a phase. However, with that completion can sometimes come a degree of fatigue, a degree also of maybe just doubt. Can I do this, or why am I doing this? I'd like to encourage you with one thing, which is you've come so far and you're so close. If you can see that light at the end of the tunnel, I would encourage you to finish what you set out to finish. It's worth that last leg of the race. For the rest of you, I would say this is a chance also to decide like what comes even beyond that. Sometimes we're only thinking of what we're doing now, and this is saying, yes, this is almost done. What's the next thing? So that's the dreaming energy of the 2 of Wands here. I'd like to pull up the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith for 2 cards. So this was the one that looked like the person was rebounding. You can see the bandage here, which represents having come through something, but still a little bit of healing to do. You got that, and then you also got the 10 of Wands. Don't overextend yourself. You may still be doing a little bit of healing. You don't have to carry this energy alone. You can lean on that group of friends, family, and people that we're seeing here. And if you don't have that network, reach out, okay? This is also a card of travel. And I think it's actually nicer in this illustration because we can see the beetle taking flight. So are you ready to move? Do you want to travel for fun, for research, for business? This is really about expanding your borders and expanding your thoughts and your opportunities a little bit. It might involve physical movement. There could just be travel for work. If you're looking for someone or something and you're not seeing it where you're at, it's saying, look a little further. Another city, country, province, state, etc. Go beyond. Here's how you're showing up this month exactly as I'd hope you to be, the Queen of Swords. She's reversed, taking swift action. If we read her at the most positive sort of interpretation, swift action and to the point. I'm not actually afraid or even judgmental of the Queen of Swords reverse. She comes in and you know exactly where you stand, you know exactly what you need to do. She gets things done. The only thing we have to be mindful of with the reverse Queen of Swords is how she delivers a message and when. There's a time to say something and there's a time to wait. So make sure that you've chosen your moment right. I'm not worried about can you communicate? Of course you can. Just make sure you've read the room properly. We see all these beautiful butterflies around her. I think some of you have an announcement. You want a change. Something needs to change. So the Queen of Swords is coming through as a reminder that it begins with a question. It begins with an idea. And the good news is, even if people are not kind of coming through with what you want, you have all of these great developmental cards. So this is innovation, this is development, and this is the ability to bring some action to it. So you can do it, or you can rally some other support if you need it. All right, let's look at what's going on in the environment. We have the Four of Pentacles. The card is reversed. This is the letting go energy that I talked about earlier. I love the beautiful moth on the horizon. Typically with the Four of Pentacles, the fourth pentacle is right in front of the heart space, and it's almost as if someone is holding on for dear life because they're afraid what will happen if it's not there. This could be an existing job, an existing person, something in your life that you know is probably not enough, but it's sort of like that old Sarah McLachlan song, Good Enough. There's so much more than good enough. So if you're holding on to something just because it's all that's there, this is an invitation to look beyond. There's something better. Just for comparison, here's your traditional Four of Pentacles, and you can see what I was talking about. That person is kind of holding on too much, and it can be a scarcity mentality with this as well. So this is a chance to imagine that there is something greater. And it's interesting that we have the Five of Pentacles right on top. And if you look at this, we see someone saying, is this enough? And they're kind of thinking, no, and I'm willing to let go of it. The minute you kind of let go, the Spirit's coming in and saying, all right, now you're ready. So be willing and ready to ask, be willing and ready to call your own bluff and say, you know what, I can go in a different direction if I need to. This isn't sustaining. So this is an unusual Five of Pentacles where you might get more if you ask, and you never know until you ask. We also get this sort of outsider energy with it where it feels like, are you on the other side looking in and wishing that you could be a part of something? Self-confidence is always an element to this. I want to look at these two cards in the traditional sort of Rider-Waite-Smith cards as well, just so we can get some insight here. So you had the Four of Pentacles reversed, which is about letting go, and we could just imagine that pentacle releasing here. The Five of Pentacles is about healing a childhood trauma, or issue that comes back. It's also about taking care of your body. Sometimes you're not moving enough when this card comes through. It can also represent injury or recovery in the lower extremities, particularly the ankle, the foot, and the lower part of the knee. So just making sure, I would just say from the knee down, focusing on moving your body in a way that feels right. Both of these are money cards too. So neither of them are really showing that you have reached the pinnacle of what it is that you're seeking, especially since you have the Queen of Pentacles in the crowning position. This is you. This might be who's around you, and this might be your hopes and fears, because that's where they're at. So I want you to focus instead on trusting in what we see there. Power, potential, growth, leadership, abundance. And she's holding that pentacle, and I said, like that ace, that daffodil that we're planting, that's coming through. It just may take 3 to 6 months to see all of the fruits of the labor, but we have all the symbols coming through acknowledging your value, your potential. And if you don't see it around you, don't fear it. That just means that it might be time to move in a different direction. Now we have what almost looks like a phoenix here in the final card here, a Page of Wands. Let's look at this. The card is reversed. It is about rethinking something. So pages reverse can be considering a different path of action or course of action. It's also encouraging you to listen and research a little bit, because normally this would just be demonstrative, it would be innovative, but when it's reversed, it's kind of thinking and digesting and kind of opening oneself to the possibilities. So it might be a great time to also work with a teacher or a mentor to help open up your mind and help you see what's possible. Still, we have with the Queen and the Page of Wands the ability to take your passion and breathe some life into it, make some things really take flight. There's a lot of birds here too as well. So let's go ahead and expand this. We're going to go a little deeper into the areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to begin with health, which is mind, body, and spirit. We talked about this earlier. The map is coming through with a simple question. Do you like where you're at? Not only that, it's mirrored here as we look at the deep past. So we have this globe, and I mentioned earlier that the universe can be coming through to say, if in this period of time you want to create movement in a new direction, now's the time to start that sort of momentum and that spinning energy and saying, all right, I want to be here. So in order for this to happen, I have to align this, this, this. I have to plant this seed. I have to explore that opportunity. So this is also a time of year where you can create, this map can also be a plan. So you can map out or plan out what the next year or 2 or 3 is going to look like. For some of you, this could be a decision, do I want to buy a new house? Because this can be the house and home. It could be a decision to have a child, start a family. It could also be a decision for you to just work on something really important for you. But the knowing is key to calling in like high priestess and magician energy to help you manifest it. And this is the main thing here for health, is what is it that you need to be happy and fulfilled right now? What are you doing to make that happen? And is there something that you need to learn about during this period of time to make that happen a little faster? Now let's just look at the cards and see what else might be coming through. I've mentioned a few times, and I have to because I see so much energy around family, children, and motherhood or fatherhood. Some of you might just be expanding the family or wanting to have that conversation. So good for you if that's part of that discussion. I think one of the big things that you want to look at right now is sometimes stress around work or debt or money can bring a lot of pressure, and we see that here with the 9 and the 10 of Wands. So just getting a handle on finances and resources is a really good thing to do right now. Specifically, when we're looking at these 3 cards, I have the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith ones. They're going to help us out with some things. So in the 9 of Wands, you'll see the bandage around the head. Some of you may be dealing with a lot of pressure. It could be impeding with concentration. There might be some migraines. Obviously, standard disclaimer applies for all of this. If you need to, talk to a doctor in a period like this. We also see stress and strain for those of you that might be doing some heavy lifting. This could be literal or metaphorical. So if you work in construction or you're moving or you're doing a lot of intense work, this is about making sure that you don't stress yourself out or pull a muscle or something like that. This can also be an emotional, energetic sort of load that you're carrying with you, and there's encouragement here to lean on others. I talked about taking care of your feet and your legs. This always comes through with 5 of Pentacles. It can also just be getting a cold or being sick, so don't run yourself down. And with this one, it's just about doing some things to basically open up. It could be a posture thing that I'm picking up with this, kind of like leaning in too much. So this is about stretching and opening up the heart space. All right. So we got some specific messages with the old traditional cards there. I already talked about not trying to be everywhere at once and not trying to control everything. A little bit of a release, not being so bossy is important with the Queen of Wands in reverse. Otherwise, I think we've covered pretty much everything here, and it's safe for us to move on to the next one. So we're now going to go from health to wealth. And in wealth here we have Father Sky. I would connect this with Zeus energy or Emperor energy in tarot. And it says trust in the unknown. The reason you can trust in the unknown is you have the capacity to create change, as evidenced by the 3 Queen cards that we talked about earlier. The Queen of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. So again, this is ideation or innovation. This is abundance, money, and the ability to create something. And then we have the ability to breathe life into it to take some action. You got all that it takes here. And also look at all of these attractive cards here with being able to pull people into your ideas, your projects. There's some really good leadership energy around wealth. What might be lacking for some of you is you may be yearning for that sort of power position or the ability to really create your own sort of voice or vision, in which case maybe it is the perfect time to start something new, your own company, for instance. You wouldn't have to do this necessarily alone because we have partnership cards and I see 3 queens here. So this could be a chance to create a business venture with other people. It could also be a chance to be seen as the leader that you are, but the missing component would be moving on or traveling or reaching out beyond where you're at right now. So there is this sort of desire to push through because many of you felt like you've been waiting for a while to be seen, to be heard. And definitely this is your moment if that resonates with you. For everybody else, let's take a look at what might be coming through here. Again, wealth is a lot of things. It's resources, life purpose, and career. So it's going to hit in different areas at different time points. I like to look at those who are working, those who are retired, those who might just be starting out. So we're going to do that today. If you're working, the most important thing that you can be doing right now is networking, because that's going to help you possibly open up the leadership position. Back when I used to work at a corporate job, I was promoted once to the role of art director. And I remember my boss saying, there's just a buzz in the office. Everyone's saying you're doing a good job. And it seems like it's the right time. And it wasn't a conversation I needed to have. It was a conversation that others were having with him at the time. Like, why isn't this person promoted? So sometimes the networking and also the work that you're doing kind of does the work for you. Now, if you've been putting in the time and it doesn't happen, if you've been waiting and you're not receiving, then this is a chance, like I said, to maybe spread your wings and look elsewhere. But the network is really important. It could also help you find the next job. Traveling, moving, looking beyond where you're at, this keeps coming through as a common thread here. I feel like your ability to, again, have this green thumb or just do amazing work, it is here. That's why we see all of this flurry of activity. So keep it up. Don't relent with the hard work. It's worth it. Don't try to fix everybody's problems. Don't try to do everything for everyone. Focus instead on where you can make the biggest impact. Don't overextend yourself. And if you're not getting enough time, energy, support, or recognition, we've kind of given you some insights here. I think the first is just maybe to raise your hand and say, hey, I'm interested in this. What's the probability? What do we need to do? How can we put this into my plan for the year ahead? Because sometimes you have to map it out. If it's not there, you have to create a map. Okay. Somewhere along the line, there was a cartographer that created the map. So you're that cartographer this month. All right. So we see a period of abundance upon you, even if you're not seeing it around you right now, and you know what to do if you're feeling a little stuck. For those of you that are retired, here's what I see. There's so many people in this spread. It feels like socializing, giving back. If you do have children or grandchildren, they're coming through loud and clear. If you're single and retired and really don't have an extended family, it's about creating that network. Some of you may want to just travel, and we don't actually see necessarily anyone with this person. You may want to just do some solo traveling as well. I think the important thing here to look at is the health, because we have the 5 of Pentacles and the 4 of Pentacles here. So making sure that you're not overextending yourself in resources and making sure that you're taking care of your health. Those are the key things right now. But everybody this month, the networking and the socializing is coming through loud and clear. All of you this month have the potential to change things with your words. And so this is really good for those of you that are writers or public speakers. So for those that are retired, there might be also some what do you call it? It's kind of like advisory sort of things where you're going consulting. There you go. Consulting or mentorship or advisory sort of things where you can step in and help other people. If you're just starting out, a student, or you're re-entering the workforce after maybe having a family, here's what I see. I think, again, the importance for you is to take the fixation off the finances and more on how much of an impact you can make. And for some of you, maybe you want to study, work, or live in a different part of the world in order to kind of figure things out. And I want to give you permission to really explore a little bit. In order to know where you want to be, you got to kind of really see what's out there. So take your time, do an internship, talk to some people that have already been through things. It's a really great time for all of that. Let's focus on love next. This is already, it already came through. So I can tell you without breaking it down that the most important thing this month is for many of you just going to be focusing a little bit more on relationships. This is your oracle card for that. I am a light in the world. Yes, you are. I used to talk about, this was back in 2015 when I started the channel. I would kind of end the videos saying, think of yourself as being a lighthouse. And a lot of times in this world in particular, we have to shine even brighter when others cannot or will not. So you may find yourself in a situation where people want to extinguish your light, but like that candle in the wind, you're gonna hold fast. You can put it in a lantern like the hermit and say, no, this light isn't going anywhere. So You may be shining a light on things that people don't want to see. You may find that you have strength that you didn't expect that you had. In this moment, I also want you to shine. This is like the star reversed. So if there is a parent, a friend, a coworker, someone in your life that you care about, and they're telling you to dim your light, respectably, I'm just sort of say, no, thank you on this one. I know who I am and I know what I want to do. All right, let's break this down and focus on 3 different relationship types. We're going to start off for those that are already in a relationship, and then we'll look at those that are looking for love or happily single. If you're already in a relationship, one thing that, we can see it right here with these 3. The partnership looks pretty solid. This is a card of expanding the family. So some of you are thinking of having a child, or basically juggling and thinking, is it the right time, or do we want to do other things instead? Because it's just a discussion that's bubbling up. If you're not interested in having a family, then what we're seeing here is a lot of interaction. We're just on the throes of the holiday season. For the next 2 months, there's going to be 4 or 5 different, lots of holiday events that are popping up. So you may find that your social calendar is full. We see friends, we see family, we see connections at work. It's a really good time to kind of have some fun. But make sure that the 2 of you aren't feeling overwhelmed. You can say no. You don't have to go to every event. This is the fatigue. It can go either direction on this card. So make sure that you're not fatigued. And as we were looking at the traditional, the 10 of Wands here? This one. So sometimes it just feels like we've taken on too many RSVPs. We have to say no to at least one. So go for that. I think that it is vital to talk about health and finances, because these cards rule a little bit of both. So talk to one another about that. Have an open dialogue. There's a lot of people here, so there could be sisters, brothers, or parents that are in the mix. Remembering that it all boils down to the 2 of you or your immediate family if you do have children. That's the key focus here, all right? It's pretty good if you're in a relationship. There may just be some decisions like what's next, making some plans for next year. I like when 2 of Wands comes through in a relationship spread, because it means that there's still a hope or a wish that that person will be with you in the long run. It's just about talking about your hopes and dreams and talking about maybe the fears over finances. Okay, that's it. Now let's look at those of you that are, and by the way, there's a deep past life energy with many of you with the Phoenix. Just had to highlight that. For those of you that are single and looking, you could be pulling in partners that have children, especially since we have a Queen of Wands and a Page, which can be a child. We also have just a lot of people here. So I'm seeing multiple options. And whenever that happens on a singles read, one thing that I would always encourage is specificity. The universe can be as vague as you want. So if you just say, send me love now, it's going to send a lot of different options. Make sure that you're clear on what's important to you. So if it's emotional availability, good health, financial stability, et cetera, put it out there so the universe isn't just sending random opportunities your way. And know that because I see a lot, you can be discerning. So even if you've been specific, the universe may have a lot of options. So go with what feels best. I think it's important to also focus on a couple of potential blocks. One is the closed-mindedness that there has to be a certain type of person. There may be more than one, like I said, and they may not show up exactly in the time or the form that you thought. And if you're open, that could open up new doors for you. Health and finances, everybody, I'm going to just keep bringing that up. Take a look at it, get a stronger hold on that. You may want, this next person could come on the throes of a move, because this is deciding I might want to go somewhere else. This is moving somewhere else. So the new person could come after you move. There's a little bit of an age gap between the Queen and the Page. If you're comfortable with that, that's one type of partnership that I see. If you are single and happy, if you are divorced and happy, or widowed and happy, or any of these things, here's what I see. Again, the focus is still on networking and meeting new people. So have some fun. Do some new extracurricular activities that could create new bonds in your life. I think travel is definitely popping up here. And those are the main things that I'm seeing here. The only fixation here is moving a little bit more. It feels like some of you may have been stagnating a bit. Changing up the routine a little bit could also help. So explore some new options, and spiritual growth and development with the Light card here as well. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Destiny. And this is really interesting. We have what I talked about already with the 5 and the 4 of Pentacles, trapped in fear. So there's nothing to be afraid of. This can also be kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of the 8 of Swords, where just because you don't see it doesn't mean that something isn't going to improve or something isn't possible. So open up the door, open up the window to opportunity, and know that the things that I kind of lean into when I feel a sense of fear is education. So think about, like, if there's something that doesn't feel right in your body, you go to a doctor. If you have more questions and they didn't answer it, you go to another doctor. Maybe you read some stuff online. You start to educate yourself. Once you've figured out what's going on, you're like, all right, now I think I know what I can do about this. Same thing is happening when there's a major purchase or major decision. You have to open up your eyes, your heart, your head, all of that stuff to kind of take it all in. Give yourself a moment here. You don't have to figure it out alone. You don't have to figure it out overnight. You have support, you have time. I talked about up to even 6 months for some of these big changes. Don't let fear hold you down, hold you back, or block you from growth. Let's go ahead now and take this a step further and look at sun, rising, and moon sign messages, and we'll see what's coming through. Sun as the sun, rising, and moon. We got the Ace of Pentacles. These are beautiful. They're all upright. They're all good. Let's talk about them. We'll begin with sun sign messages first. You got the sun. This is the second time we have this really brilliant light energy that's coming through. So we were just talking about the fact that many of you already are that sort of light in relationships. This is reminding you also that the sky is the limit here. Let's think about what the sun does in our solar system. It holds things together. It basically creates patterns of movement. It creates light. And look at this really close. You can see all these hands reaching out from the sun. We also see all of those hands coming through from the center, fire again. So this is about breathing life into something that really creates passion, focusing on your own insight, your own light, your own energy, and keeping a focus on the future as well, beyond where you're at. So too often we just focus on completing the task, the opportunity, whatever it is at hand, and this is saying there's so much more. And this is also a solar cycle that's coming around, and we're a little bit ahead of that for you, but it's, January, February, March, we're looking at that first quarter lighting up, and it makes sense. So, a month or two after many of your birthdays, this is when we are seeing something really fabulous happening. Charisma, power, and just general personality come really loud and clear with that sun card. So lean into those, and I think you're going to be surprised at your potential when you start to just feel like, from the inside out, because the sun is basically shining inside out, you just start to embody this and think, I've got this, I can do it. Let's make this happen. So decide. I think the main thing for you is to decide that it's going to be okay and decide what you want to do, and then see if you can't light up your own path on how you're going to do that. This is also a baby. So birthing energy, it's time. It's time to do something. It's time to plant a new seed. So there you go. Let's move on to rising sign messages. And you received justice. And justice is a chance to create better balance in your life, to fight for what matters. It's also a chance to make up your mind. And oftentimes that's the pivotal thing that you have to do before something happens. So the universe is kind of sitting there and it's asking you, what do you want? Once you know, then everything starts to light up like we just saw with the sun card. But the difficult task sometimes is just saying, all right, let's do this. Take some time this month. Do the research. Don't allow yourself to be held back by fear. Instead, focus on that power, that light that everyone can see in you. Take the initiative that we saw with the Father Sky. Create a map that is unique and appropriate to you. Spin the globe, pick a spot, and say, all right, this is what I want. When that happens, people show up and things start to move in the right direction. This is also work-life balance, and some of you may be deciding to prioritize so you can spend more time with friends, family, or children, okay? And that's what I see for that. Let's move on to the moon sign messages. we're back at the beginning here with the Ace of Pentacles. Go back and listen to what I said. This is a time to plant intentions, to state intentions, and to be patient and realize that it may be 3 to 6 months before everything comes fully to fruition. But look at all the flowers here. There's a reason that I chose the Ace of Pentacles. It will come through. You just have to stay consistent and focus, okay? This is also about you potentially offering something to someone else. It can be a new contract. It can be a proposal. This is super unique in this spread to someone that you love. They could be giving it to you. You could be giving it to them. But this is, if I'm doing a love reading and I get all of these cards in this, it's like someone's going to pop the question. This is good if you're looking for work or opportunities and you love it. We can kind of read this in a different way, which is something that you really, really want could be coming true. It's a wish fulfilled. So, I mean, I'm really positive about what's coming through as we look at sun, rising, and moon. So the sun is the ability to just shine brightly and get started on something and also birth something. And then it's important in rising to make a decision, and then in moon to plant that seed. But together, they're three of the best cards that I could pull. So it looks like you're headed in a good month, folks. Let's go ahead and do one last card. This is the most fun, I think, for many of you because it's your chance to ask a bonus question. So I did my best to look at everything. I'm sure you have at least one more question that's personal to you. So take a moment now and ask what it is that you need clarity on. Final question. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what the universe has to say. So we have the Prince of Swords. This is a Knight card, and it's saying, now is the time. As a yes or no, it's a yes. As a timing card, it's almost immediate because this is one of the fastest moving cards in the minor arcana. So we see imminent change, an imminent opportunity. We get a yes. It's also about starting a conversation or starting an email chain or sending a text. Take the action is basically what this card is saying. And if someone has reached out to you, follow through on it too. Reciprocate and cooperate. And you have so many people that came through in this spread this month. This is just one more court card of many. I feel like people, it's where the power and the opportunity exists for you this month. It's to really lean into working with others, talking to others, and becoming a part of maybe a bigger group or bigger movement even, all right? So what a beautiful reading for you. What an honor to be here for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, do me a favor. It only takes a second here, but it makes a big difference. New viewers, hit subscribe. I do a bunch of videos every single day, week, and month. That's a way to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. You can also click on the bell icon and say all to make sure that you don't miss out on a single video. Make sure to hit the thumbs up once. That's a way to say to me, hey, I like this. And it lets YouTube know it's quality stuff. All right. You can also follow me on social media. My handle is always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. Makes sense, right? And if you see weird stuff where there's other characters or missing things, it's not me. It's always my name. If you ever need more information, you can go to my website to make sure that you have the right address. A reminder, I don't offer private readings. I'm never going to reach out in direct message and ask for things. If anybody does that, block them, report them, and leave a message here so that I can also do the same. And thank you so much for being a part of this. If you do want to give back, it's always optional. You can always do it through official channels here on YouTube, and memberships, super stickers, super chats, and super thanks are ways that you can show support, as well as subscribing. I can't underline how much that helps too. Thank you so much for being a part of today's reading. Apollo joined us in the background. Let me bring him up here for a quick hello, and then I'm going to walk this beautiful assistant of mine here. Thank you, everybody, for taking some time to basically look at what's possible. Lots of love from Apollo and I. We wish you all the best. Take care.